Yo, SojuTalk Nation! On this week's episode, we'll be covering Fuego releases from CL, Yerin Baek, JaeHwan, plus a whole bunch of winter songs. We'll also be cooking up some spicy news coverage, including regulation changes for idols and trainees, the 2019 top 10 best-selling artists, and YG broadcast PD departures and Big Bang's future. So prepare your body, drink that hot cocoa, because it's our last recording day of 2019. Hit me with that intro. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is SojuTalk, your weekly shot at K-pop. We're coming at you with a super spicy episode 65, and we're recording on Monday, December 16th, 2019. I'm Doug, and joining me today, we got Warren.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And Anita.
Hello.
And as a quick reminder, please leave us feedback, questions, or hot takes at SojuTalkPodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe to the SojuTalk YouTube channel. Join the SojuTalk Discord, which hit 250 members today.
Ooh.
And be a part of the SojuTalk Nation. Links down below. We got some announcements. First of all, this is our last recording day of the year.
Oh,
Yes.
2019 is coming to an end, everybody.
Yeah, 2019 has been ridiculous. We'll talk a little bit about 2019 in a couple weeks. So that's a quick spoiler. But this is our last recording day of the year, but we do have content for you over our winter break. So next week on Christmas Day will be the SojuTalk 2019 Awards show. That should be pretty cool.
Yes,
But please keep in mind, it's only going to be covering up to last week. So for things like Red Velvet song that's coming out on the 23rd, it doesn't really factor into our awards. So keep that in mind. And then on January 1st, 2020, next year, we're going to be having our 2019 year in review and predictions for 2020 video. So that should be pretty cool. And then the following week, I think on the 8th, we will be back with the regular scheduled program. So stay tuned, everyone. But we do have content for you. Second of all, there is a news site, whether you like it or not, called Koreaboo, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is, yeah.
They wrote an article called 5 K-pop themed podcasts you should start listening to. SojuTalk was number 3 on that list.
Wow.
I think earlier in the year we were number 7 on some other list, but it wasn't like a super reputable K-pop website. But Koreaboo's actually pretty big, and getting number 3 is kind of absolutely ridiculous.
Guys,
to be honest.
number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3. That's like
Cool.
bronze in the Olympics.
I mean, bronze is good. I mean, we're not getting exemption from the military, but we got third.
Bro,
Sorry,
why you
Warren.
have to say that, bro?
But
Bro, you didn't have to mention it that way.
But lastly, I got one big shout out this week to Caitlin. So this past week, a member of the SojuTalk Nation, Caitlin, wrote us a super kind and supportive email. She's not been 100% recently, but still took out the time and energy to write to us. Honestly, getting positive feedback from the nation truly puts things into perspective for us and makes all the effort we put into the podcast 100% worth it. So if you're listening, Caitlin, I just want to say thank you and hope you are doing well. You are the true MVP. Happy holidays.
Yes.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
But now, let's move into the big new releases for this week. So on December 10th, Tuesday, we got double releases from CL again with Paradox and I Quit. And Yerin Baek, I always switch that around. I always call her Baek Yerin, but she's going by Yerin Baek. She released her album Every Letter I Sent You. I'll explain more later. And finally, the other song we're going to be reviewing in full is on December 12th, Thursday. JaeHwan came out with another single called The Time I Need. But let's start at the top with CL's 2 releases of Paradox and I Quit. Oof, that was a mouthful.
Good job, Doug.
So CL, we still don't know what company she's in, but she debuted in 2009 with 21, 2013 as a solo artist. Her last 3 songs now are Done, Rewind, Lifted. So Done and Rewind were the first 2 tracks from her upcoming album, and now we got Paradox and I Quit. What did y'all think of these songs?
The MVs.
The MVs?
Really interesting. Really interesting.
Very unique.
So Paradox, right?
Let's talk about Paradox first. Yeah.
On a visual aspect, Paradox is pretty much a super retro Korean karaoke music video.
Yep. That's
Or it's
basically
like-
what it is.
That is what it is, right? It's like grainy. It looks like it's from like 80s, and it just has the lyrics of the song going at the bottom.
With like the scenery videos in the background.
Yeah, the
San
scenery
Francisco
videos.
Golden Gate Bridge and like random animals and their wildlife just crawling around.
Personally, I always forget how good CL is as a singer because
Yes.
I generally know her as the rapper of 21, but her vocals are completely on point here, and Another thing I wanted to point it out were great lyrics again. I think that's a common theme with all these songs so far. So I'm going to read off some. So it says, just thinking out loud, blame it on the stars, just thinking out loud, wishing time to move backwards. That's some like introspective stuff right there.
I mean, like I kind of going off of what I said last week, she's taking a very like introspective approach with these releases, which I'm a huge fan of. Again, really, really love it when I hear like the artist's perspective in their own songs, right? Because that's what artists do. They're expressing themselves. So to me, feels like CL is really expressing herself, or we're seeing her expression from 2018 and 2017 here.
Yeah.
So really digging it, really, really loving the theme of these things. It's not something we see commonly in K-pop. So 100%, I'm all for it.
Yeah, so if you don't know, all of these songs come with like a date afterwards. I don't know exactly what the date is, but people have inferred it's like the dates where she finished these songs. So she's been like sitting on them for a long time while she was at YG.
Yeah. The song itself, I'm gonna kind of mention this next week and whatnot as well, but it feels very minimal. There's not a lot going on, right? There's like those synths, and then there's like the minimal like drums, and then when the drop happens, it's like it's not even a lot. It's not like it's like kind of like her. I think it's her voice where it's like ow, 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 like that thing. Like,
wait, what was it? What is it?
No, I'm not doing it again.
Okay.
Rewind the video if you didn't hear what I said. But there's not a lot going on, but somehow the presence is very strong with this song, right? So in that aspect, again, something I've been saying over many, many weeks recently, like less is more here, right? And I really, really, really dig that. Awesome song. Real good arrangement. Big yes, big win, big CL. Awesome, big brains.
Okay. I don't know what that was, but Anita, how do you feel about Paradox?
I liked it. I feel like for me, when I saw the music video, I was a little expected. Maybe I thought there was going to be a little bit more going on, but I feel like at the end, it just helped me just focus on the lyrics. I think because that was the only thing you could really see, and that was the focus. Especially because it was like a sing-along karaoke type of thing. It was really easy to just focus on that, right? And like Doug mentioned, the lyrics are just so, I don't know, I really like that we're seeing a lot of artists do stuff or release songs that they've had for a while and now they're releasing it now, because it seems like a time capsule sort of thing where we really see like, oh, this is what you were going through, this is what you were feeling at that moment in time. And I don't know, I think with CL and these lyrics, it's just really, I guess, brings the listeners into like what she was doing and what she wanted to be doing during that break. Like we could only speculate, but now like, oh, it was really tough for her at that time.
Yeah, like as you said, these are like time capsules into her thoughts during these years. And I think overwhelmingly people would say it was a struggle for her at YG. And I was thinking about her at YG, and it's like, it's one of the few cases where I get that K-pop is a business, and sometimes you don't do comebacks when the economics don't work out, when like your songs aren't doing well or they're not pulling in money. But everyone knows CL is a superstar, right? Whatever she releases would make money, which is why it's such a curious situation as to what happened to her at YG as a whole. But just some food for thought. I'm going to shift now to the second song, I Quit. First of all, shout out to sign language.
Yes.
That was cool.
So
and in terms of language, in the info sections of all of her last 4 songs, the new ones, they always say like how many languages it's in, like you could get the subtitles for. They're like 16. It's ridiculous how many subtitles there are. I think that's great overall because she's making her music so accessible to everyone. Like even if you're deaf, you can watch this music video and understand what she's feeling. I think that is tremendous. The color palette, like just the colors were great in this music. For me, this is my I Quit is my favorite out of the 4 songs she's released so far.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
And then this is like it's about a breakup, but of course you could also interpret it as she's shading YG again, which I think is quite legendary if she is. So one of the lyrics is, "I ain't wasting my energy and time playing games with you. Bring it on, let me show you how I got this crown." Dang. That's a great lyric. I'm really excited to see what Seo's going to do in 2020. I would like more background information as to like her company and stuff. I think right now she's independent. Like, I think she's producing these. I know she's affiliated with some other record labels that are not YG, but none of their stamps are on anything right now. It's all just personally put out by Seo.
That's amazing. Yeah. If it is, wow.
Do you guys have any closing thoughts on this song or?
Closing thoughts? I mean, I didn't say anything. Why are we doing closing
thoughts? Sorry. I don't know.
Go out for it.
I mean, I agree with a lot of things Doug said. You know, big shout outs to accessibility. But at the same time, this was my least favorite song of the 4 so far.
Oh, okay.
I feel like the rap verse was a little weak compared to the others, partially because the BPM is a little slow, and you know, Seo doesn't. I think she underperforms when the BPM is a little slow because long story, but I mean, even then, still, I'm a big fan of her direction with this song as well. But man, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, but I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, she's taking a very hip hop approach with these songs. Mm-hmm. She's, for the lack of a better phrase, she's keeping it real here. Like,
okay,
like, let's be real. She is keeping it real. Like, she ain't faking. She ain't, you know, like. I guess I'm just repeating what I said earlier.
That's okay.
Okay, but thoughts. Never mind.
Anita, you tie break this for. Do you like the song, or do you think it's not the best out of the 4? What are your feelings about this?
I don't dislike it. I don't know if it's my favorite out of the 4, but I don't know. I think each of the songs are both similar and different. Yep. I feel like for this one, I still feel like it has that like Good Riddance type of vibe, you know, like the lyrics itself too. But I don't know, like Warren mentioned, I feel like she's taking a very like minimalistic approach with a lot of the videos, and I think it's really smart because I feel like it feels like a build up for some reason. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she decides to go all out for a single in the next coming weeks or in the next year, in the next month. So I definitely feel like I like having this like, introduction to the album, you know, like this is where I was at, this is where I'm going, this is where I want to go. So I don't know, I like it. I love the idea of the sign language, the colors, and I think it works. It's working right now. I like that she's taking her time coming back. Like, we haven't really even seen her perform in any of the videos. Like, you can't really see her. So it just feels like there's an expectation building up, and I'm sure it's going to be big when she does.
I don't know, like, the structure of the album, like, if these are the B tracks, but if these are the B tracks, the A track must be ridiculous.
I kind of don't want an A track.
You just want more of this?
I feel like, so how long is it going to be? Like 8 songs?
I have no clue.
That's like, clue. Okay. Well, I'm assuming it's not going to be longer than 10 songs, right? Like, that's how usually albums are.
Typically, yeah.
I feel like I could have an album full of these songs, and like, because this isn't super like, I mean, a lot of the things she's doing already with this approach is very anti-typical K-pop, right?
Right.
For sure.
And I feel like when you release a K-pop album, you're always expected to have that one 8-track, the one that's like, unless you're doing a winter album, you're expected to do like this like lit, you know, especially from YG, right? So I kind of want her to just go with whatever, and if like, okay, here's the thing, right? If the whole album's in this vibe, and suddenly in the middle there's a lit song with, you know, lots of 808s and you know, like, that's gonna kind of break the mood of the album.
Oh, I see.
Like, okay,
you know what I mean?
I'm gonna make a point here. So in terms of albums that don't break the mood, let's now shift onto our next release. Also on Tuesday, Yerin Baek released her album Every Letter I Sent to You. The weird thing about this album is, like, there's 3 A tracks on paper. So it is Popo, How Deep Is Our Love. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's 0310. And then finally Square, and in parentheses is 2017 because she initially sang this song. So this song was produced in 2017. So that's why it's like that. So she is under her one-woman label now, Blue Vinyl. She debuted in 2012 with 15 and 2015 as a solo artist. Her last 3 songs were Suddenly, Maybe It's Not Our Fault, Love You on Christmas, Zero Music Show Wins, but for her, Music Show Wins probably doesn't really matter. Additionally, Square 2017 achieved a certified all kill, and that I
Wow.
think that's impressive as a all English song and a song without a music video.
Right. Yeah.
It's apparently the first time an all English song has won first place.
Okay, I did not know that. So that's
Wow.
pretty cool. It's hard to talk about like any of the title tracks, I would say, because this is more like you have to reflect on the whole album with this like drop, honestly. So for me, Yerin has some of the best vocal quality in all of the Korean scene right now. I don't think that's a hot take or a stretch by any means.
Ooh, vocal quality best.
Oh.
I'm saying that her sound is transcending K-pop right now.
Oh. Okay.
Transcending K-pop.
I'm saying it's transcending K-pop in the fact that if you just play this song because they're English songs, like people wouldn't think this is a Korean person or a K-pop song. A lot of these songs,
I could play this in my office with my coworkers. Yeah.
exactly. And the album, okay, I normally do not listen to full albums. Y'all know that. I'm the 8-track assassin over here, right? Listen to this goddamn album. This album is ridiculous. I think the best way is like you either cruise down the road or late at night you put on some nice headphones, you play this whole album. Yep. Oh my goodness, you're gonna have the time of your life. I said there were 2 music videos for Popo, How Deep Is Our Love, and the 0310, beautiful music videos. One of them looks like it's a drama. The other one's just pure. The other one's just pure aesthetics. I'm going to let you guys give your reactions to these songs, and then I have like a minor hot take, not about her, but about a situation involving her.
I have something to say about JYP as well, but let's save that for last because I feel like you all have a lot to say about that.
So Warren, what do you think of this massive release of all these songs and the album?
I have both good things and bad things to say about this album.
Okay.
So this album dropped like mid last week. I've been listening to it back to back with the new Gear Boy album and the Crush album.
Ooh.
And all 3 of these kind of share a similar vibe. Gear Boy album is kind of out there in terms of vibe, but Crush is kind of similar. Very soulful, very R&B, very R&B oriented, and it's great. It's the both albums. Well, let's talk about Piggett's album. It's really well composed, really well produced. I'm not gonna argue against that. The album itself, the point I think it begins with Berlin is when the second CD part begins.
Yeah, second part.
Personally, I feel like the second part is a little more dynamic and I have a lot more memorable moments. And then the first CD is kind of along the same vibe, the whole like first 8 tracks or whatnot.
Yeah.
And let's put that into perspective because there's 18 tracks on this album. It's not. It's by no means is that a short album. That's like. I think Jay Park's albums are usually that long, but besides him, I can't remember. Actually, No Chang dropped a 31-track album recently. Never mind.
Okay. Wow.
Even then, 18-track, very long. I kind of lost interest in the first couple listens on the first half of the album. Not saying any of those songs are bad, but listening to when I listen to the whole album, I really kind of focus on how the songs are placed.
Okay.
And in that aspect, I feel like she could have either shortened down the track listing or she could have changed it up a little bit.
Mixed it up.
Yeah. At the same time, songs themselves are wonderful. I'm not going to go into them individually. I could if you guys want to, but I'm not going to.
It does listen like one giant song, or a lot of it.
Yeah, there's
a very similar vibe going throughout. But one other thing I forgot to mention was like the instrumentals on a lot of these songs are fantastic.
Beautiful.
That's like the strongest point. It's her voice and then the instrumentals.
There's a bunch of detuned pianos.
Yeah,
which are like, so normally instruments are tuned into 440 or 442. That's like a standard measuring for tuning. A bunch of them are tuned out of that, which means she put in the effort.
I feel like she cares about that.
She cares. She put in the effort to make it sound a certain way that is very unconventional, yet is very approachable. That's, in K-pop at least, that's like very, very uncommon. So big shout outs there,
Yo,
honestly.
flex on them, Warren. Flex on them with your musical knowledge. If y'all don't know, Warren is really good at violin. So just gonna throw that out there. But
I
maybe
used
we'll,
to be.
maybe we'll have a violin video in the future. But Anita, how do you feel about this album and all these releases from
I feel like
Yerin Baek?
I share a lot of the same thoughts as Warren as far as like the album as a whole. Because the first half did feel like very, very similar in vibe and sound. And like I feel like at some point I almost had to like double check back and forth like where I was. Like, oh, what is this song called, right? Because it felt like they do blend into each other a bit. And I mean, that's not a bad thing because I think there should be some sense of synergy between the songs just so that it flows well. But now that you mention it too, Warren, I feel like I'm wondering if like the first half is done in a way that it's chronological so that a lot of the songs maybe are like closer together in the time they were done. So that's maybe why they sound a little bit similar. I don't know. That could be a thing just because it does seem like a lot of it has been like untouched or as they were done at the time they were written. But I'm not sure.
If they were, I feel like it would have been more perfect if that was communicated somehow in the album.
Yeah.
Right? If there was a
I'm not sure.
interlude in there or something.
Or if it was like, this is the album plus additional songs. You know, like if they, I feel like they could have done that too.
It's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they wanted to have like a two-sided album cover or something, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, these are two different things we're trying to do here. That might have worked as well. Yeah. Because you definitely have to listen to this in like I'm just going to binge listen this album. It's not like
it's a commitment.
It's a commitment. None of these songs are really like this is the song. Maybe it is square, but overall it lists the whole album listens like this is a complete picture they're trying to make here versus like this is the A track, I think. But let's now move on to the final release for this week.
Wait, aren't we going to talk about JYP?
Oh yes, thank you, Warren. Okay,
I also have so much to say about that. Why not? Why like
the discussion I want to have here? Thank you for reminding me.
Of course, Douglas.
There is an entire conversation to be had about JYP and solo artists at his company.
Oh boy.
I want to say at least in this year, specifically female non-idol solo artists at his company. Because in the calendar year of 2019, Yerin Baek, Jimin, formerly of 15 and Baek Ga-young all left, and they are all three popular female solo singers who are technically not idols at this point. You know, a lot of times with solo artists versus idols, solo artists want to have more control about the music they're releasing because I think a lot of the times with the songs idols release, the songs don't really represent the idol members, but the group overall. So for instance, with like a Twice song, when I think of the song Fancy, this is a Twice song. This is a JYP song. I don't think of it as like, this is a Nayeon song. Whereas a solo artist, when they release it, it's like, that's their name on the product, right? Like CL releases this song. This is a CL song. This is representing her as a person. Because of that, the point I'm trying to make here is that idol companies that specifically work with idols and groups more or less, they like a lot of control. And I think that conflicts a lot with solo artists, and that's why we see this like disconnect in solo artists and JYP.
I mean, we had it's a thing with K-pop, right? Because the companies produce artists, and it's very rare for artists to produce themselves in mainstream K-pop, right? Like, because you know the investors figure out what's gonna make money depending on how much they invest. So they get the final say in terms of creative output. In terms of that, I'm sure there were reasons JYP was probably against releasing these songs.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these songs were already existing for 2 years. Like Square.
Yeah.
You know, they were out for a while. Like she sang them at her concerts and whatnot. She just couldn't release them. For whatever reason. People were guessing that. So her whole album is written in English, right? Besides like Loopy's verse, I think. Damn, like stuff like that. Like JYP might have been like, oh, you know, like it's too risky to, you know, drop songs that are written fully in English and expect financial success. From a company standpoint, that's kind of understandable, you know?
Yeah. I think it's also the creative process because if you think of like, let's say, so she's now at a solo company, her own company.
Blue Vinyl, yeah.
The equivalent of that at an idol company would be the agency being like, here's $500,000, make an album. They're not gonna do that, right? That's like that's the equivalent if she was still at JYP. And what you're saying about like financial risk, that's probably the reason why it didn't work. But at the same time, it's like you would think a big company like JYP would recognize talent and try to keep it. So it's a bit of a conundrum. What do you think, Anita?
I mean, to be honest, I had a feeling that those three that we mentioned coming from JYP, the solo artists, I feel like they just have a very, how would I say, like their own sound, you know, like even by their personalities, you can tell like, oh, this is very them. And I don't know, I guess JYP does have to worry about like his own, like the company, and as just a bigger group, like more people to take care of. But I also feel like there should be some sense of security also from coming from a big company where like the name kind of holds a sense of like, oh, this is quality content. So like even if it's a little risky or if it's allowing a little bit more creative input from the artist, like I still feel like the support will still be there from the fans and the general public. So I don't know. I feel like honestly JYP could have done a little bit more for them. I don't know what the negotiations were like if there was disagreement by both sides or only one, but I don't know. I hope all of them can have as much success as she's having, as Yerin is having, because I feel like they're definitely talented, and I would hate for them to just fall under the radar. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I was really scared when they left because I wasn't sure if it was gonna be good or bad. That decision.
No, I get it though, because if you think about, well, specifically 15N, so I'm talking Jimin, Yerin.
Yeah.
They were in a group 15N, which is supposed to be essentially a vocal duo. They had some releases early on, and then they shelved them for a long time.
Yeah.
So when contract renewal comes up, don't you like? Clearly, the first thing in their head was like, "Well, you shelved me for like 2 years before you let me do solo stuff. Why do I want to stay here?" So from there, like I get why they would want to risk it, and it seems like by the time that Baekhyun started getting popular, she was 1 foot out the door already. Like we had Jimin like publicly criticizing JYP. You know what I mean? I don't think Yerin was as vocal, but you kind of knew she was being shelved, right? So it's that kind of situation. Of course, there's so much stuff we probably don't know that goes on behind the scenes, like contract negotiation. Obviously, she's at her own company. She gets more money. So all these things to factor in. But
on the other hand, you have to realize if her album fails, Yerin is probably going to take the hit.
Yeah.
She's probably
or her investors. We don't know what the financials look like.
Let's wrap up this conversation.
Okay. Let's transition into our final topic for this. Well, not final topic. Our final release for this week. So on December 12th, Thursday, we had Kim JaeHwan's with The Time I Need. So he is from Swing Entertainment. He debuted back in 2017 with 101 and 2019 as a solo artist. His one other release was Begin Again, which was a solo debut. He has 2 music show wins so far. Anita, what'd you think of this? I'm going to let you start.
Okay. Good. Well, to be honest, I liked this because it was not what I was expecting from JaeHwan this time of year, you know? I feel like at this point, I kind of thought it was going to be a Christmassy ballad, something that he is very known for, even with 101, his vocals. But I like that he's really trying a little bit, like a more pop sound. Like it's still a ballad, I think. It's pretty slow, but it's adding a little bit of choreo. It's not like super sentimental, I would say. So I think it adds a different dimension to him as a solo artist instead of being pinholed to just ballads, like straight up ballads. As far as the music video, I really like the set design. I don't know, the set where they had like a clock going on. I thought that was really interesting and pretty. And the styling was also really interesting too. I really liked the suit he had. Like it was like marbled design on it. I thought that was really, really cool. The styling overall was just really nice. But yes, I thought it was It was good. Is it better than his ballad, his debut? I'm not sure, but it's definitely different, which is what I think is great to try out.
Okay. I've been holding in some takes, yo.
Oh.
I'm not gonna destroy him. I'm not gonna destroy him.
Okay,
I like Kim JaeHwan. I think he has fantastic vocals as a whole, right? I honestly thought with 101 he was the MVP on a lot of the songs they had. But I am not a fan of this song.
Oh.
Straight up. Because I don't think this is utilizing his talents at all. Like,
yeah, it's not his comfort zone, I wouldn't
say.
say.
My problem with this song was I don't know a lot about musicology and chord progression and anything like that.
Oh boy, I have a lot to say about that, do I?
But for me, the feeling I got for the song, if I had to describe it in one word, it was like dragging. That's how I felt about the song. Like, I felt like it was just da 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 da. Like, you know what I'm saying, Warren? I don't know. You'll probably get more into it than me. I am a much bigger fan of his debut as a solo artist, Begin Again. Additionally, I was like, all right, choreo in a ballad, let's do it, right? And then I was like, that was my feeling. I mean, I'm just a tad disappointed because I know he is such a good vocalist. But Warren, I don't know if you're gonna get spicier than me, same spice, but let's hear it.
Big poo poo.
Oh man! You gotta defend yourself then.
Here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna focus more on the production of the song and the way it was arranged because it's an interesting song. It's very interesting. It's like it sounds like a B track on an R&B album written in a ballad chord rather than R&B chords with no seventh chords at all. I'm sure it's in there. I didn't pay attention to the chords used or whatnot, but it follows very Korean sounding, very Asian sounding chord progressions, which is not surprising because it's coming from Double Kick producers. I don't remember their English name, but Idan Yeoptagi is their Korean name, and it sounds very typical for them to the point where it sounds like a remake of a 90s melody flapped onto a modern R&B kind of production with the same chords from whatever 90s song it would have had, which doesn't make sense because these songs these two things in combination doesn't work. It's just something that doesn't work because the chords aren't super interesting. It's something we've heard many times at this point. The arrangement's not super interesting. That means Kim JaeHwan as a singer, as a vocalist, needs to kind of take the lead on driving the song to the front and just driving the song along, and that's really difficult. He kind of didn't do that or couldn't do that, and I'm not blaming it on him because I bet nobody could with this poor.
Did you also feel like dragging? Like I don't know.
That's dragging. I couldn't finish the song for after 5 attempts. I finished it when I was on the subway. I couldn't switch songs because Spotify needs internet. Like that's when I listened to the whole thing. Like that's a. I mean, if you like the song, and I'm sure there are people who like the song, good for you. But personally, I have heard songs that do similar things way better, just with a lot more compatibility in terms of arrangement and just composition. So to me, there's not really any appeal here, and I kind of have to agree with Doug. Like this guy Kim JaeHwan, I remember he's
really good. He's really good.
He don't need to do this R&B thing with like ballad chords.
I felt like my whole feeling was like, man, they did this guy dirty. That was like my feeling. Well, I was like, when I finished the song, I was like, man, like.
If you're gonna do the R&B thing, just go full at it. Just like do something Dean would do, or something like. Like do something like lo-fi with like Soul Child and Keshi vibes or something. Slap on auto-tune and slap on a high filter, make it sound like you're recording out of a cassette tape or something. Like this.
His first song was like a straight ballad. I really liked it actually, as someone who likes ballads.
I don't even like ballads. I would have rather had a ballad. Like, come on.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I was like, I'm not as disappointed in the production as Warren because I clearly don't know enough. But for me, I was just like with the talent that Kim JaeHwan has, I was just expecting a little bit more. That was my overarching feeling.
Big poo-poo, 이단 엽석이. Big poo-poo. Composers, producers.
And with most things in K-pop, remember, we are not criticizing Kim JaeHwan. We are criticizing the decisions made behind the scenes.
I feel bad for Kim JaeHwan. You kidding?
I feel kind of bad too. Because I was like,
he needs a better song, this guy.
Yeah, my side discussion for this was like the success that the 101 members will have in the next couple years will be interesting if we base it at all on what happened to the IOI members, it'll be something to see over the next couple years because IOI members, varying levels of success. Let's just put it like that. We'll have to see. But let's move on to our side pieces or winter songs / ballads. Warren's picture is stuck again. I don't know if he's still here. Oh, he's still here. You here?
Yes,
you here,
yes.
Warren? Okay, you're good.
Is my internet poo-poo today?
I mean, your voice sounds fine. Just the screen's a little bit robotic once in a while.
Man.
But
it's robot Warren this time around, guys.
But we have 5 side pieces. We're not really going to discuss them, but I will describe them. So the first one was Pak Bom and Sandra Park had a holiday special duet called The First Snow. So it features the former 21 members. It's their first ever official duet and their second collaboration following Pak Bom's Spring this past March. So there is a making MV, but not a true music video. Overall, I thought it's great to see the loyalty of the 21 members and like the family that they have together. And this song was also released on the same day as CL's 2 tracks. So that's something to think about. The second one, we have the legendary singer Boa. She came out with Starry Night featuring Crush. Straight winter ballad. Crush plus Boa is amazing. Overall, a gigantic veteran flex. Her visuals in this music video, 15 out of 10. And this was filmed completely in New York City. So that's something to look at. Next, we had Ailey's Sweater. So it's a Christmas themed ballad. Korean and English versions are both available. So go check them out.
Oh, wow.
Of course, Ailey comes hard with the powerhouse ballad vocals. The music video is sad. There's like crying old people. It's a tough watch. You have to be emotionally ready to watch this music video.
Crying old people. My goodness.
It's like, I'm going to wear your Christmas sweater because you're not here this year. That kind of feel. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
The next one is NCTU with Coming Home. So this is a winter ballad through Station X, and it is sang by Taeil, Doyoung, JaeHwan, and Haechan. Did I say them all correctly, Anita?
Yes.
Okay, cool. The thing that stood out to me was the next level high notes in this song.
Yeah.
They are ridiculous, and this is my favorite song out of all of the ones I am mentioning here.
Ooh.
Just gonna throw it out there. So go listen to NCTU's Coming Home. Lastly, we had Luna with 365. So 365 is a winter ballad about a precious someone in your life that you'd like to give your all to. There is no music video, but there was like a teaser video. It doesn't really make sense. With this song though, Luna became the first K-pop girl group to reach #1 on both US iTunes top songs and album charts.
There's a music video.
No, it's fake. The one you're thinking about.
Really?
3 minutes and 43 seconds?
Okay, so let's talk about this then.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
There is a current trend on YouTube going on where people are making fake YouTube accounts that look like official accounts. Where they post music videos. So the music video you're watching is just the teaser looped 3 times.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So pay attention to that, people. Eyes One Fiesta has a thing like that going on right now too. So don't get caught. But
ew.
So this song reached #1 on the iTunes US top songs, and I think earlier in the hashtag Luna movement, one of their albums reached #1 as well. So they are the first girl group to do that. But the discussion I want to have was Luna and their comeback that seems scheduled for early 2020. Let's go.
Boy, it's happening finally.
They released a teaser called, it was #1. So I think, you know how Luna has some weird naming conventions? They have like XX ++, all that stuff. It's hashtag now. That's going to be the next one. They teased Burn back in the spring with the U as the hashtag.
Yes.
The teaser they released was called #1, so #1 with Heejin, who is the #1 member, the first one who was introduced. I don't know too much about the Lunaverse, to be honest. I know it's complicated. There's a lot of speculation as to what's going on.
Complicated is a bit of an understatement, let's be real.
But what we do know is it seems like a comeback is going to happen relatively soon. So
are we calling this hashtag or pound or sharp? or number?
Well, it was initially called Burn, but I don't know what we're calling it now. Hash. I saw hash in a lot of the articles I was reading, but I don't know if that's the correct translation. Yeah, I don't know. But do you got anything to say about Luna's impending comeback, Warren?
I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm not even that big of a Luna fan. I'm still excited.
I was hoping because this one was called number 1 that it would like be released in 12 days, which would have been January. It would have been December 26th, and I would have been in Korea at that time, so I was gonna buy all the albums. But I guess that's not gonna happen because there was no number 2 the second day. I'm still waiting for the Hyunjin teaser though. But those were all the releases for this week. Now let's move on to our show winners. Okay. So the show and M Countdown did not have a chart or winner or broadcast this week. The big winners overall were EXO with Obsession. They won 3 music shows. They won Show Champion, Music Bank, and Show Music Core, bringing their total wins for Obsession to 5. And finally, on Inkigayo on Sunday, IU's Blooming Triple Crown, which means it won its 3rd award on that show.
Oh, wow. Congrats, UNOS and IU and XOL.
Here's a factoid for all of you, though. There has only been 3 Triple Crowns this year on Inkigayo.
Wow.
The 3 songs are Dala Dala, Boy With Love, and Now Blooming.
Interesting.
Last year, I think there was 6 or 7, but don't quote me on that. It was around that number.
So it's the BTS and IU.
Yep, are the 3 that Triple Crown this year.
Wow.
Yep, but now let's move on to Hot Takes with Harold. So on this segment, Cousin Harold's going to come on for the final time this year. He's going to give his weekly hot take, and then the crew will react and discuss the take. Let's go.
You know, Anita, people have been asking on... Yeah.
What?
Your cousin. Do you have a cousin? By any chance? They've been asking on the server.
I have a cousin?
Oh, no. I think Harold is here, though.
There's Harold.
Okay,
What's up,
the
man?
weekly hot take is plastic surgery is an acceptable aspect of K-pop and the Korean entertainment industry. Boom. See you in 2020. New year, same me.
See you in a year, Harold. I'm so funny.
You're really not funny, though. But okay, so the weekly hot take is plastic surgery is an acceptable aspect of K-pop and the Korean entertainment industry. Spicy topic, yo.
The wording.
Can we expand the hot take?
To what?
To plastic surgery is an acceptable aspect of K-pop, Korean entertainment industry, and Korean culture.
If you want to talk about the culture too, that's
Sure,
fine.
all right, okay.
Okay.
Because I think it is acceptable.
Okay,
Very.
defend your point.
Okay, you can start then. That's cool.
What's wrong with having plastic surgery? What's so wrong about it? I don't understand. You don't like
You mean
something
this rhetorically or not?
I either way.
Okay, I think what I have trouble dealing with is the reasons behind people deciding to go with plastic surgery.
Okay.
Like, what's behind that desire to go through with it? Because I think it depends, and based on your reasoning, it's either it should or shouldn't. I think it already is acceptable, but I don't know if I would agree that it should be.
I think there's a bunch of reasons that I've seen people get plastic surgery for in and out of the entertainment industry. Couple things boil down, like there are some obvious, ones that come to my mind, such as it'll help me boost my career, or it'll help me find a mate, or I do not like certain parts about my face, or then another commonly recurring one is I have it's uncomfortable because I have a big chin, or it's uncomfortable because my eyelids are a little drooping, stuff like that.
You make it seem like, though, like the amount of surgery is like relative to the amount of medical problems in Korea, which is not true. Like,
yes,
like, okay. Number one, couple things we got to remember is Korea has the highest plastic surgery per capita in the world, right?
Yes.
Additionally, Korea also has the highest suicide rate per capita in the world.
Correct.
Which I think are... Okay, let me talk some epidemiology here. I'm not going to say that it is...
Public health, man, let's go.
I'm gonna say there's a heavy association. I'm not gonna say that it's conclusive though, of course. My personal opinion, before we move on, my personal opinion on plastic surgery, I'm gonna talk about it in terms of K-pop because we are a K-pop podcast.
Right. Let's bring it back to K-pop. Sorry.
My personal opinion on plastic surgery and K-pop and the Korean entertainment industry has changed in the last 10 years.
Okay.
When I first got into K-pop, first discovering my Korean heritage, all that stuff, right? I was really against plastic surgery. I can't pinpoint exactly why, but I think a lot of it has to do with the cultural difference between Korea and the West, where until like Beverly Hills 90210, that surgery show that came out like 10 years ago.
That was a long time ago.
Like plastic surgery wasn't in the forefront of American media, period. It was like not spoken about, not pushed in everyone's face. So it was super taboo for me, and I think for a lot of Americans about 10 years ago, where I was like, Jesus, plastic surgery? That's like maybe Playboy girls getting their boobs done. That was like essentially, like, no, that was like it. It was always seen as like something taboo, something like bad. Do you know what I mean? Like something not acceptable for the average person. Over time, of course, I've gotten older. I understand the reasoning. My problem with plastic surgery in the Korean entertainment industry is a couple reasons. Number one, do I think it's acceptable that they get it? Yes. But do I think that the reasons they're getting it are fundamentally flawed? Yeah, but that's more of a discussion about the overall Korean society, the pressures people are facing there, all those things. I point to certain things as to why I still have a little bit of apprehension with it in the K-pop industry. Number one, people are getting it after the public has accepted their faces. I think that's a little weird. What I mean by that is like, we're not going to name any specifics this week, but you know that there are some idols who they're decently popular. People know what they look like. They're relatively famous. And all of a sudden, between comebacks, new face. Like, as the Psy song says, new face. And you're like, all right, well, clearly they got some work done here, right? I find that a little bit suspect. I also think that the age that people get plastic surgery in Korea, not only idols, but a lot of middle school girls getting surgery for like graduation presents, I think that's problematic as a whole because your face can definitely change while you're still developing. For sure.
Middle school plastic surgery isn't that common. It's usually high school when you graduate. You get, if you want, double eyelids and whatnot.
I mean, even when my sister taught English in a Korean high school, I think 3-4 years ago. Like she said, kids would just show up with bandages on their faces.
Yeah,
in middle school,
it's a thing in high school. I don't know about middle school.
All right, well, I heard there are reports, and I've seen statistics on middle schoolers getting it too in higher and higher percentages over time.
Dang, all right. I mean,
which is a problem. But in terms of K-pop, I'm like, number one, who am I to say what you do with your face, right? Like that's the overarching thing is at the end of the day, it's not my face, whatever, right? But at the same time, I worry about the idols because I wouldn't say like, obviously I don't hold any personal stake in current idols, but you care about idols. That's generally why we like K-pop. We get emotionally invested in people and you want them to be happy. And it's like, man, it's like you got surgery because you went through a lot of emotional things, or maybe the company forced you into getting it, which I think is the worst thing to happen. And they see plastic surgery as the only way to like make it in the K-pop industry. Then I have problems with it. But overall, I'm okay with it at this point.
Here's the thing, right? Yeah, plastic surgery can be used as a form of boosting your confidence or loving yourself more. In which case, I don't really see a problem with it. If you rely on a third party entity to be more accepting of who you are, I mean, it's not a change that's going to reverse itself naturally, right? So I totally fine from my perspective. However, it's a completely different story if they fall into a cycle, a loop, where if they keep thinking they need more and more and more, that's an addiction.
Yes,
exactly. See what I'm saying? It's the same thing as becoming a crackhead. Like, just never mind. Actually, never mind. But
I think what he's trying to say here, it's similar to any addiction. That was what he was trying to say.
Yeah, it's an addiction. That's the point where it becomes an issue. Video games are fine. Not all video games Like, no, sorry, video games are fine. Playing video games are fine. Being reliant on video games to find joy in life is a problem.
I've been addicted to video games at one point, to be honest. It was not good. It was not good.
There we go.
Let's just say that.
It's not amazing. Plastic surgery, if it's a one-time thing and you have the right reasons to do it, I don't really see a particular reason why not. Korean culture, Korean society, yeah, people value good looks. That's not going to change tomorrow. That's not going to change next year. Just they got to survive, man. Like they need good jobs. They want good-looking partners. I get it. If they fall into a cycle where they're like, oh, I did my job this time around, time to get my nose done. That's a little bit of a oof. But
yeah, I also think another thing we don't mention is that you got to think about plastic surgery in the K-pop industry. The companies are generally paying for it, right? I think that's more or less what's happening to the wide majority of kids. When we think of things like teeth laminates, and so one surgery that a lot of idols get is essentially they're replacing most of their teeth with fake teeth to get a perfect smile. That is one thing that happens. Now, one aspect we often don't consider is so you know how we've talked in the past about how 90% of idols don't make a lot of money, right? Those teeth, you have to upkeep that every 10 years. You have to replace them. And once, let's say 20 years down the line, you didn't do well as an idol, life isn't going that well, and you can't maintain those teeth, you're going to have major issues. That's one aspect of it. But Warren, what do you think about the idols who get plastic surgery after people know their face?
I am very confident that they know that they're taking a risk when they do that.
Okay.
Because if you do plastic surgery, yeah, everyone's going to notice. There's no way they're not going to think about that when they're getting it done. They think the benefits outweigh the risk. That's why they're doing it.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, what can I say? They think so. I don't think so. Sometimes I will agree. I don't know. Sometimes it's a good job. It's a good job. Sometimes it's not a good job. It's not a good job.
I think for me, it's is it acceptable? Yes, because that's what the playing field is. Should it be acceptable? Probably not. That's my overall. In a perfect world, they wouldn't need to get surgery,
right.
But it's at this point, it's so wide. Okay, it's widespread. Let's be honest, it is widespread.
It is.
If you like 100 idols, I'm not gonna name a percentage, but there are idols who have had plastic surgery. I see a lot of the times where fans like to say a specific group, they argue over who had plastic surgery or not, right?
Probably all did. Let's be real.
I wouldn't say all of them, but it's I would say people are getting some touch-up work, little things. I'm not gonna say every idol's done plastic surgery. Clearly, not all of them have, but have some for sure. Let's be. Are you gonna say that idols have a lower rate of plastic surgery than the general Korean public?
Probably
that would be a really short-sighted answer if you said yes to that, right? So, to be realistic, are idols having surgery? Yes. Is it acceptable for me? Probably, because that's just the playing field. Should it though? No, but that's a larger cultural problem.
If we could fix the whole landscape of the way visuals are, viewed in Korea. If you look at the whole landscape of that should probably change. My only thing is it's not going to change overnight.
For sure.
Of course not, yeah.
And I feel like we're slowly but surely moving towards the right direction in terms of how we look at other people's looks and whatnot and judging them. So,
yeah.
I can't say that change isn't happening. It's kind of slow. I'm sure it'll speed over time, but I can definitely notice the difference compared to what I saw 10 years ago and now. And so
honestly, the surgery is a lot better now too.
That too.
That's another aspect because of course I'm not going to name names, but if you look at some of the really older idols or older Korean celebrities who had a lot of work done along the way, it's a lot different than what it looks like now.
I mean, there was a bunch of celebrities back in the earlier 2000s who used to get made fun of for having bad plastic surgery done. Like Bang Myung-soo was a big example. He had a funky job done on his double eyelids, and people were like, "Oh, look at you! You're even uglier now."
Yeah, it's just tough because that just adds to the cycle then. But Anita, give us some calming thoughts and your final feelings on this topic.
Well, as I mentioned when the conversation started, I feel like overall in Korea, it's just very culturally based, right?
Yes.
looks and stuff like that. It's very embedded in the culture. So I'm not surprised. I kind of feel like people should be aware that that's going on in K-pop anyway. Like it'd be bad to just say like, oh no, it's not going on here. But I don't know. The chances are that it is, and it's not a bad thing because, like you mentioned, it's a cultural thing, and I do feel like companies do have a lot of a say in it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if people are like, oh, I think I'm fine, but maybe a company is like, well, maybe this would be a little better. I don't know, but
that's a problem
heard
though.
of idols that have had that, like, been approached to that ex trainees, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like Doug mentioned, I just feel like it is acceptable because of the context. Am I completely okay with it? Like, should it be acceptable? I don't think so. Just because I do feel like people should have, I guess, more of a say. Like, not feel that peer pressure or societal pressure as much, maybe. But again, like we mentioned, this is not going to change overnight. This will have to happen over generations and as slowly as things maybe change, maybe they won't. I don't necessarily feel like people should be judged for getting plastic surgery either, because of course you never know like what their reasons were, their circumstances. So yeah, I feel like it's both ways. If you're judging people for having plastic surgery, I feel like you're not being any better, to be honest.
That's true.
Because I feel like you're still judging them on their looks, you know?
Yeah, I would say, like, to close it off, it's like my reasoning why I disagree with surgery to an extent is because the people that are getting it generally are very young and impressionable and and like, I know that their parents probably have to sign off on forms, but it's like at that point they're heavily influenced by their will to like make it in this industry. So of course it's like it's a biased opinion, right? It's like, I need this to get famous versus, do I actually need this? There's things you got to weigh here, but who am I to say how people are living their life?
Exactly.
Okay, now let's move on to news and events from last week. You know, the hot takes were spicy, and it's one of those big discussions we always have. But in terms of news and events, the first one, regulation changes for idols and trainees. On December 11th, the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism held a briefing to explain new regulations regarding the entertainment industry that have taken effect or will take effect in 2020. Regulations include, number 1, a system to prevent a 52-hour plus work week. There's not a lot of information on this one out yet, but that is I think is a step in the right direction because we know a lot of people in the industry are overworked. So that's something. Number 2, new regulations for the length of passports issued to male entertainers over the age of 25 who have yet to fulfill their mandatory military service duties. Currently, such individuals can receive a passport which remains valid for a year after reception and for the purpose of short-term overseas travels. Starting next year, the length of the validity will be increased by as much as 3 years. Once entertainers reach the age of 27, they may submit and receive permission to carry out promotional activities if deemed helpful to spread Korean culture.
Interesting.
Do we have any thoughts about that one? It seems like... Oh, go on.
That's a very vague...
I think the purpose of this is so that they don't have to fill out so much paperwork.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Because instead of 1 year, which means they have to keep renewing it, they're like, all right, just come back at 3 years now. I don't know what this means, but that's something. I guess it makes everyone's logistics easier. Lastly, a standard contract for trainees to protect their rights and interests. So a standard trainee contract ensures that a trainee's contract period does not exceed 3 years, making it easier for them to debut or move to another agency. Additionally, the agency will be responsible for all expenses related to the trainee's training and instruction.
Okay, this sounds great. Sounds like
this is great.
That's great because we have a standardized contract for artists.
Yes, the first one is very standardized.
Right.
Yeah, the way idols contracts generally work right now is that the first contract is like similar to like the NFL or other sports agencies where like there's a set contract that you get with the first one. And then after that, you can negotiate other stuff once that one's up. For trainees, though, I think it's great that they're protecting trainees because they are most vulnerable because they don't have any income to be made.
Yeah.
They're like on a chessboard, the trainees are the pawns. Like they're the smallest unit of the game right now. And I think it's good 3 years. So they say you can only train for 3 years on the first contract.
And
that's
choose
what it's
to
saying
renew
here.
if you want to.
Yeah. So they're saying they cannot exceed 3 years, making it easier for them to debut or move to another agency.
Right.
We don't know the complete specifics, but I think that's a good idea.
We'd have to look at the specifics, obviously, but it's a step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It definitely, though, will... I think this one will, if it goes through... Well, if they say they are going to make it take effect, but if this does go into effect, it completely changes the game.
Oh, yeah.
Because these really long training periods won't be a thing anymore, which means that they'll have to start recruiting kids later on paper. Because if you still want them to debut when they're like 17, 18, you're going to have to get them in your company when they're like 14, 15, instead of like 10, 11, 12.
I think trainees nowadays debut at a faster cycle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I know that most of Rocket Punch members, excluding Takahashi Juri, didn't train for longer than 3-4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not a common thing anymore where like the girl joins the group or company at like 6 years old and trains for 10 years.
Okay, but those are the regulation changes for idols and trainees that will take effect in 2020 or have already taken into effect. But now let's move on to the 2019 top 10 best-selling artists. So on December 11th, the Twitter account @KoreanSales_TWT compiled and posted the best-selling artists in terms of physical album sales for 2019 in different categories. We're going to go through some of the categories and discuss. So the first one is top 10 best-selling rookies of 2019. X1 was by far the best-selling rookie group, and they sold 640,000 albums. TXT came in second with 400,000, and AB6 in third with 300,000 albums sold. After those three groups, there was a big drop-off for 4th, 5th, and 6th place, which was ITZY, CIX, and ONEUS, all coming in at around 120 or 110,000 albums sold. Lastly, in 7th through 10th place, we had Very Very, Everglow, One the Nine, and Cherry Bullet, all ranging between 60,000 and 30,000. So there is a clear big three this year for rookies in terms of album sales.
Looks like it, yeah.
X1, TXT, AB6. And then, well, the other thing we always have to realize is that girl groups don't sell as well as guy groups. That's the overarching theme in K-pop. Y'all probably know that by now. Because on this list for girl groups, we only have ITZY, Everglow, and Cherry Bullet.
Rocket Punch.
Do you know how many albums they sold, Warren? Not that...
I think like 11K, something like that.
Oof. Big oof.
Big oof.
But overall, I think this rookie class this year was incredibly strong. But now let's move on to top 5 best-selling female solo artists. So there is a two-headed monster for female solo artists with IU and Taeyeon selling between... Well, IU sold 200,000, Taeyeon sold 165,000. The top 5 is rounded out by Yuna from Girls' Generation, Chungha, and Wheein from Mamamoo. And for reference, Chungha sold 36,000 albums.
Chungha, I thought she sold more than that. Surprising.
She is massive in the stream numbers, not as high on the physicals.
It means that she is more popular with the general population, but has a weaker fandom.
That's actually a pretty good way to think about a lot of this.
This is
because who's buying tons of albums? The diehard Chungha fans. But now let's move into top 5 best-selling male solo artists. So all 5 of the top 5 best-selling male solo artists sold over 140,000 albums.
Oh my god.
Baekhyun came in first place, 550,000.
Oh my god.
Kang Daniel, a close second, and 500,000.
Oh my
Chen sold 380,000. Ha Sung-woo and Yuno round out the top 5, both in the neighborhood of 160,000 albums sold.
That's a lot of albums. Man.
Yo, UN Village.
Yo.
550,000 albums.
That's a lot of albums.
Goddamn. That's a lot of
Goddamn.
albums. Yo, and Baekhyun, Kang Daniel, that's for Kang Daniel to sell 500,000 albums is incredible, I think, because he's a rookie this year. So absolute ridiculous numbers. Do y'all have any? Anita, what do you have to say about this?
To be honest, I feel like it was I kind of expected EXO to be up there just because the fan base is really strong. Pleasantly surprised by Kang Daniel because I wasn't sure if his debut was going to be as successful with the dating rumor, the scandal that happened around that time. Thought there might be some effect there, but honestly, the fandom is very strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in that bunch, top 5, for a while.
Yeah, for sure. But now let's move on to top 10 best-selling girl groups. These are the ones you want to know. So, Twice remains the dominant girl group, selling 1.1 million copies.
Oh my god.
Which is over 3 times the total of any other girl group in 2019.
Oh my god.
Blackpink, Red Velvet, and JaeHwan make up the rest of what I'm going to call the Big Four, with all of them selling in the mid 300,000s.
Wow.
Mamamoo, Uju Sonyo, and G-Friend come next in 5th, 6th, and 7th, all selling around 200,000 albums. ITZY, the Monster Rookies, come in 8th, selling 120,000. And finally, in 9th and 10th place, we have Dreamcatcher and From Miss 9, both selling 67,000 albums.
I'm surprised to see Dreamcatcher here.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Dreamcatcher.
Yes.
So shout
They had a solid 2019. You know, there is clearly an S tier here, and then there's clearly an S plus tier, and then an S tier in terms of album sales. We might have a tier list come out in 2020 again.
Update video.
In terms of the album sales, there's a clear gap, I would say.
Clearly, yeah.
And then, Uju Sonyo was rewarded with their fantastic musical year in 2019 with great sales and albums too.
It's only going to be better next year.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of think so as well. Like, at least in album sales, they're on Mamamoo's level right now. We'll see if musically they can reach that level too next year. Or if they already are there. That's for you all to decide.
They're big.
Okay. Now let's move on to the top 10 best-selling boy groups of 2019.
Look at these big numbers.
BTS reigns supreme with an incredible 6 million albums sold. Truly ridiculous numbers. 17 comes in second and caps off their fantastic year with 1.4 million. We then see a bit of a drop-off with GOT7, EXO, and X1 selling around 640,000 and coming in sixth, third, fourth, and fifth place respectively. So GOT7, EXO, and X1 all sold around 640,000. Next, in 6th and 7th, come established groups Monsta X and Newest, both selling 500,000. And lastly, with about 425,000 albums sold, Super Junior, Stray Kids, and EXO Seichan, so the EXO unit, round out the top 10 best-selling boy groups of 2019.
Wow.
Big numbers.
To put it in perspective, EXO Seichan, which is a unit of EXO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sehun and Chanya, they sold more albums than the number 2 girl group.
They sold more than Blackpink.
Yeah. It's crazy.
GOT7 sold as much as about Blackpink and Red Velvet combined.
It's like,
oh my god.
It's one of those things where guy fans in Korea are a lot more casual, where female fans are the ones who are willing to spend the money. That's the overarching truth about K-pop.
And Korean culture in general.
I guess, yeah.
Kind of crazy, yeah.
But now in terms of the best selling top 10 artists overall in 2019, I'm not going to name the numbers, but this is the order.
Mm-hmm.
First place BTS, second place 17, third place Twice, fourth place GOT7, fifth place EXO, sixth place X1, seventh Baekhyun, eighth Monsta X, 9 Kang Daniel, 10th Newest.
Nice.
Congrats to everybody.
Things that stand out to me. Twice the only girl group, of course, but coming in third, so they strong. They strong.
Yes.
They're strong.
And for them, they had only 2 songs this year, right, for Korean albums. So that's something to think about. Also, Baekhyun and Kang Daniel, the 2 solo artists in here. So that's also very cool of them. Lastly, I found the list by K-Charts Master that compiled the digital points accumulated this year. So as Warren said, digital points more represent the general public's view on the songs and the artists. So first place BTS, second place Twice, Third place, EXO. Fourth place, Blackpink. Fifth place, ITZY. Sixth place, Mamamoo. Seventh place, Winner. Eighth place, B2B. Ninth place, Red Velvet. 10th place, 17. So many more girl groups and a few guy groups that did not physically sell a ton of albums but had very strong digital numbers in 2019.
B2B and Winner.
Yes.
Interesting.
You know, the thing about B2B, I don't know if they had multiple releases, but it's only that one ballad that sticks out in my mind at the moment.
Yes. It says they had 4 songs on this chart.
Yo, if you think of it, ITZY in 5th place.
That's really crazy.
They're only counting the points for 2 songs here, and they come in 5th.
Man.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Big hits.
Big hit.
But not from Big Hit Entertainment. Just big hits of a song. Sorry.
I mean, Big Hit had all big hits this year, too.
Yeah, no, that's true, yeah.
But now let's move on to our third news topic for this week. YG broadcast PD departures and Big Bang's future. On December 12th, it was reported that several broadcast PDs who were recruited by YG Entertainment in 2017 will now be leaving the company. The 3 PDs mentioned had previously worked on variety shows including Real Men and Infinity Challenge. YG Entertainment is likely to cut down on variety shows with the loss of a few PDs, but the company appears to be continuing production of music-related and audition programs.
Well, I'm not surprised. If I was working for YG, I would probably want to leave unless they got a big raise, which probably didn't happen.
I mean, it's also one of those things. We don't know if they're leaving or the company's just downsizing because of all the problems. Because generally, when companies in business have big problems, they downsize to minimize risk and all that stuff. I think this is actually good for the company. I'll explain why. It means that they can focus more just on what the company is based on, the music, rather than trying to produce TV shows. And we know with like Mix 9 and Treasure Box, you know, maybe stepping away from the TV shows for a little bit would be the correct thing for the company to do.
Yeah, they haven't really done a lot of amazing things with the TV department in YG, really.
Okay. Lastly, in related news, the re-signing of legendary boy group Big Bang will soon determine the share price and financial future of YG Entertainment. It has come to light that YG owns a variety of trademark rights for its key members, including G-Dragon and Taeyang, their stage names, which is weighing on the possibility of their future contracts. According to the patent office in Korea, YG acquired the trademark rights in early 2003 for the name G-Dragon before Big Bang debuted in 2006, and the label also acquired the trademark rights for Taeyang in 2015. The industry insiders believe that the re-signing of Taeyang and G-Dragon, the only 2 members of the group that have not faced any serious scandals in the last couple of years, will play a big role in the label's share prices going forward.
Here's the thing, right? G-Dragon doesn't rely on the trademark G-Dragon.
Not anymore, no.
He just has been going by Kwon Ji-young for a while now. Taeyang, it's a little different. I could walk down the street, mention Dong-young-bae, and people would be like, "Who they?" Like, who they? But like, I mean, I don't know, like, because originally I read this somewhere. I might be completely just pulling stuff out of my butt, but they were supposed to be a duo just called Kwon Ji-young and Dong-young-bae. I heard. So
Are you talking like while they were Big Bang or before?
No, like pre 2006.
Okay,
they were gonna be a duo originally.
Interesting.
I mean, we have seen these kind of issues come up. The obviously Beast and Highlight, where the group formerly known as Beast left Cube and had to become Highlight. So that is something to think about. But overall, though, re-signing, I think the bigger thing here is the re-signing of Taeyang and G-Dragon is critical for the company. For sure.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if GD leaves, creates his own company with Taeyang. Calls it like Peace -1 company or something like that, you know? Like,
he should come back with like G-Dragon or it's J.I. Dragon. He should just do it just to screw with the company. It'd be really funny. But actually, that wasn't funny. Don't listen to me. I just thought about it. Now let's move on to our quick takes. So the first one, Big Hit Entertainment makes brief response to reports of BTS's February comeback. The entertainment company simply said, "We will reveal the comeback schedule when it has been confirmed."
Okay.
Next, Sully's autopsy report revealed no foul play. So a representative stated that the autopsy revealed no anomalies or no trace of harmful or toxic substance. Police will be closing the case soon, so that's good to hear. This one was kind of shocking. FNC Entertainment announces Kokoro, Mire, and Linlin's departure from Cherry Bullet.
Oh.
The label stated, "We have come to the decision to end their activities with Cherry Bullet and terminate their exclusive contracts. The group will continue on as a 7-member group, with Haeyoon now serving as leader following Mire's departure."
Wow.
That's a little concerning.
This is unprecedented, I think.
What happened?
Like, normally when people leave groups, we kind of have an inkling as to why, right? Like health reasons, a scandal, something else. This is just like out of left field for a rookie group too, and for a big company. No clue what's going on here.
No clue what's going on, but best of luck to Cherry Bullet fans. This must be heartbreaking news for them.
Yeah, for sure. Next, PD 101 manipulation specific. So this is a follow-up to what we discussed last week. On December 14th, various Mnet insiders reportedly gave away additional details, including names of specific trainees who were affected.
Oh, no.
These details are not confirmed, so keep them in mind, but no one has come out and refuted them. So that's something to also keep in mind.
Let's take it with a grain of salt, guys.
One newest member was in the final 11 for 101 and was removed after an agreement between Pledis and CJ. Fans are speculating this is JR.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Usuk, who ranked 2 in Produce X 101, was reportedly the center and ranked number 1 in reality for the show.
Oh. Wow.
They're saying that there had never been a member who placed number 1 who was previously in a group. And they said that is why they made that decision. Next, Jin Hyuk was reportedly removed from the X1 Final 11 lineup.
Well,
I mean, I'm not too surprised there, but...
Yeah. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But this is bad. This is bad. And it kind of confirms everything we had suspected.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that came out of those 3 was the reported agreement between Pledis and CJ. That's a little shocking.
I hope we don't get these kinds of reports for Produce 48.
Oh, dude, it'd be a mess.
I hope I don't, because I'm at a place where, like, knowing that my one pick didn't make the group, I have accepted it and moved on. I don't want to like dig up a grave, you know, like let's please don't dig this up, please.
Also, this week there were reports that a different PD with the last name Han was in charge of both the show and the manipulation for season 1.
Oh,
Han Dong-gyu, is that his name?
I have no clue, but that's the reason why people are saying, oh, it makes sense because An then only admitted to season 3 and 4, and he probably had a little part in season 2. But that's the overall message we're getting right now. Mnet reported to it. Basically, they were like, we don't know at the moment, but that's how they've been responding to most things. In terms of comebacks and releases when we are gone, December 23rd, Monday, is the big one. Red Velvet's coming back with their final comeback for this year. That should be pretty cool. I forgot the name of the song, but it had an interesting name. You can look it up yourself. On December 30th, Monday, we will also be getting a comeback from Momoland. And this is after the members had left.
Right.
Taya and Yeonu, right? So also something to look at. Finally, in confirmed comeback news, Anita, very, January 7th.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Now let's get into State of the Nation. I would normally talk here about what I'm doing in the world of K-pop, but I just wanted to talk briefly about SojuTalk in 2020. Let's go.
We're evolving.
I wouldn't say we're evolving incredibly. We are making some cool stuff though. So I'm going to name a couple things. First one, we will definitely experiment with different YouTube videos. I want to do another tier list, some tier list videos, things like that. Warren and I might do some vlogs or vlogs, depending on how you say it. We got a lot of things on the on like the back burner right now that maybe we could push to the front in the first few months of 2020. I got a lot of giveaways planned too, so be on the lookout for that.
Just dishing out giveaways left and right here.
I mean, I'm going to Korea. I will tell you, there will be a giveaway on the first official episode of 2020 once I come back.
You guys make sure you're subscribed and following all that.
Lastly, this one's a bit of a spoiler. I'll explain it more once we get here. I have a plan for KCON coming next year.
Oh my god, you and your spoilers, my man.
I might need some help with the nation in late January, but I will completely explain when we get there. But just know KCON is on my mind.
But it's on our brain, guys.
Warren, what have you been doing in the world of K-pop?
I've also been planning some new things for next year.
Oh yes.
I've been cooking up a new segment. It might be a separate episode in itself. We'll see what happens. We're playing with ideas. Anita and I like the idea. Doug is not really a super fan of the idea. Oh, it's okay, whatever. I've had too many albums to listen to recently. It's a very good thing to worry about. Like I mentioned earlier, I've kind of been looping Crush, Geary Boy, and Pegidion's album on loop. Mm-hmm. That alone is like almost like 4 hours of content.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then along with that, last couple days ago, Dochang dropped his album. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, 30 tracks.
That's so long. That's so long.
I encourage everyone here to go check it out. Just hear a couple of songs. He is personally, I think he is the best producer of Korean hip hop in the 2010s because he does something that nobody else can attempt to do. It's incredible the way he expresses emotions, both in terms of lyrics and both in terms of production. I would say his style is very industrial, experimental, influenced by Yeezus age Kanye West, and a little bit of everything else. Every genre. Just whack it all into a 30-track album, and there you have it, folks. It's worth a listen. It's worth checking out. That's all I will say. Lastly, in terms of that.
Anita, I don't know if our fans care, but I know that Produce Japan ended, right?
Oh man,
it did.
Were you? I not a spoiler, but were you?
Were there manipulations?
I mean, okay, but were you overall satisfied with the final lineup? How, like, what is your feeling about it?
Honestly, I would say that coming into the finale, I was just very happy with the top 20. So to be honest, I was very okay with majority of people, if not everyone, making it. So I had no problems with that. I did feel like some people had a better chance than others, but I won't spoil it. But there were some people that surprised me that I thought like, oh, maybe they won't make it, and they did. So
as with every season of Produce.
Yeah. But I'm really excited for the stuff that they're gonna have next year. I think debut is predicted to happen in February. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to it. Mm-hmm.
Is there a group name?
There is. I don't want to spoil it though.
Spoiler alert! Turn off the podcast if you don't want to hear the group name. All right, what is it, Anita?
It's JaeHwan.
JaeHwan.
So they went with that. I honestly, the logo and everything looks really cool. So I think they're taking their time with it. They're really planning this out. So I'm really excited for it.
Lastly, I see on our script you wrote 80s ticket fiasco.
Oh man.
Lay it on us. What happened, Anita?
All right, so this is good. This is going to be a little bit of a longer one, but so today it's a Monday recording.
I hear your sister going crazy in the background.
Yes, it was a shared trauma experience. But basically what happened is that AT is having a world tour and they had some dates coming into the US, and a website called My Music Taste kind of helped make this happen, right? So they offered pre-sale codes to people that campaigned for a city, and basically they had early access to the seating arrangement, right? And I mean, how should I say this? Going to this concert was not on my radar because I didn't really think I was going to be able to go, but my sister was able to get some pre-sale codes, so it seemed like we had a good shot, right? So we went through the whole process. We were preparing for it, and honestly, it was the most stressful thing ever because what happened was that once you went in through Ticketmaster, who was the seller for the event, they basically had said that each pre-sale code was allowed 2 tickets.
Okay.
Right? And of course, when we went in, we were trying to get 2 right away. And then Ticketmaster was like, oh, this code only allows you to get 1. So then it was like, what happened to the second ticket? So from the get-go, there was that little glitch with the code.
Glitch.
Yep. And so then we were trying to get 1 with each code that we had 2. And but because of that problem, there were pairs that were left over, right?
For sure.
And then Ticketmaster has a thing where they don't let you choose a single seat from that pair because it leaves a seat stranded in the row or something like that. Basically, they just want to sell in larger quantities. But because of that, and because of the code rules that were not fixed on time, it was a lot of confusion, and we did not get the seats that we wanted. Or any seats, to be honest.
Yo, okay. Anita wanted VIP. Like, she wanted the full package. She wanted the high touch autograph poster, back hug. No, maybe not the back hug.
No,
there's no back hug.
To be honest, I think what my sisters and I were really getting at with the VIP tickets was just the location, because we're not very tall people, okay?
They short. They are so short.
they small flowers over here.
So we were trying to get as close as possible to have a good view of the stage. And the high touch and the poster was just a plus, honestly. But the location was the big thing for us. But I don't know. We were online for a long time trying to figure out what happened. And then eventually people started posting things on Twitter and just online complaining and basically saying like this was like a big mess up from the website because it didn't fix it until like an hour later, and by that time a lot of the really good seats that people wanted were gone, and a lot of people that were planning to buy 2 ended up having to buy separately, so now they're not together with their friends. It was a big mess, and I don't know if it was just Chicago, but it just seemed that because that's where we were trying to go, the closest city to us. But it seemed like a lot of people were just desperately trying to find a ticket for that venue. And it seemed like other cities were not struggling as bad, or maybe the code ended up working for them. I don't know what happened, but it seemed like Chicago was hit pretty bad as far as like not getting the tickets they wanted. But
I saw the StubHub, and someone's trying to sell like a really good VIP ticket for $1 million on there right now.
It's ridiculous. The resale is ridiculous.
It's also ridiculous because I looked up like the cheapest ticket. There was only 2, and it was like 90 something bucks for the worst seats in the house, which is a lot, I think.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I feel like coming into the pre-sale, and I guess maybe I was a little naive because I've never been to a concert before, but I'd really thought like, oh, we have a good shot, you know? But oh my God, they went quick. It was, especially with the technical difficulties, it was just so hard to understand what was going on and what you could do, like what the next best thing you could do would be. But honestly, we're still hoping to get tickets. Like if people are reselling, like we're searching because I don't know. I think the hype is very real. People want to go to this concert.
Either that or they have some quality bots out here. Like, man, like
You know who saw ATs in 2019?
I know.
This guy over here at KCON. So the silver lining is, my point I'm trying to make is, if this doesn't work out, KCON 2020, Anita?
I mean, honestly, it might be easier to get tickets there.
It probably will be, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean,
if ATs is coming, are we sure about that? Like, I don't know anymore.
That's true.
Like,
we don't know the lineup, but
I still think they're at the level where they might come.
just
To be fair.
PSA, if you are one of the people who might be reselling VIP
Please.
tickets,
Sell them to Anita.
please
hit
let
me
us
up,
know.
please.
She's desperate. She will pay a lot of money.
Email us at SojuTalkPodcast@gmail.com if you have AT's VIP tickets in
Share your
Chicago.
experiences. I don't want to feel alone because I feel like it was hard.
I will send you some stickers if you sell her the ticket.
We will shout you out in the podcast. Anita will shout you out.
But overall, Anita and her sisters took the biggest L possible today. So shout out to
Honestly.
them. But
Guys,
this has been
it's been a good year, guys. I just wanted to say
we're doing this in 2 weeks, sir, on the episode 2.
I mean, no, it's the last regular episode, right?
That's true,
so
that's
like,
true.
All right, but it's been a good year.
it's been a good 2019, guys. Just
I mean,
personally,
K-pop might have been poo, but we had a good time.
you had a couple scandals, but
Us? Okay, I don't think we had anything major, but maybe you did. But this has been SojuTalk, your weekly shout at K-pop. I am Doug. I'd like to thank Warren and Anita for joining me through the entirety of 2019. Shout out to them. Shout out to the SojuTalk Nation. Shout out to the SojuTalk Discord, because y'all are so active and keep me informed on everything that's going on and help me with the scripts from the bottom of my heart. If this is your first listen or if this is your 65th listen, I would like to thank you on behalf of the crew. But we will see you all with our next regularly scheduled episode I think it's the end of the first week of 2020. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
see y'all in 2020.
But also check out our award show and the review video coming out in the next 2 weeks. So see
And
you
Rocket
next
Punch.
time.
Rocket Punch.